You remember, even Ahab said, hey, we can't go out to war unless we get a prophet in here. This is a good prophet. And they bring a prophet and he said, I hate this prophet. He always tells me bad things. But he still got a prophet in. The prophet spoke directly into policy, directly into the king. So you got Jeremiah, he's got a very political view. And if you read the book of Jeremiah, you see that he's interfacing with the kings all the time. They throw him down in that miry pit. He sends word to the king, and the king says, I want to meet with you in private. Don't let anybody know we met. There's always this stuff where the prophets are working with the civil leaders.
And they had no hesitation in speaking out when
That's
something
right.
the civil leaders were wrong.
Spoke very clearly.
Yeah.
It's precedent of God's minister speaking in the civil arena. Now, on the other hand, you have Ezra, who is the scribe, the priest. He's the guy who was back at the temple doing all those hours of prayer and fasting. And it's interesting that when you read the same incident in the Kings that you have in the Chronicles, in the Kings you get a political viewpoint of it, in the Chronicles you get a spiritual viewpoint. Here's an example. In the Kings it'll say that the king so-and-so died and was buried with his fathers. In Chronicles it'll say King so-and-so sinned against God, God struck him down and he died and was buried with his fathers. Well, you got a spiritual perspective over here you didn't get in the political.
Yeah.
So when you look at a revival, you can read the Chronicles and get the spiritual perspective. What's really cool is read the Kings and get the political perspective. Every time there was a revival, this is the striking stuff. Every time there was a revival in the Bible, you know what changed with every revival? Their attitude toward homosexuality.
Really? In the Old
Testament. They'd been tolerating it, they allowed it, and it said that when the revival came, that they chased the sodomites out of the temple.
So revival brought moral clarity and they acted upon it.
And it brought policy. Suddenly the church is not tolerating homosexuals in the temple. And with a revival, that's a political position,
Wow.
but it's a result of a spiritual change. So as you go through and read revivals in the Bible, yes, there is a spiritual component to them. There's always a political component that goes with it as well.
So if we have a revival in America, then we should see changes not only in our attitudes, but in the policy on issues like abortion and marriage.
You betcha.
And